This footage shows the last public appearance of Steve Jobs, 4 months before his death. He speaks to the Cupertino City Council to reveal one final project.
Apple's growing like a weed. And as you know, we've always been in Cupertino. Started in a little office park and eventually got the buildings we are in now at the corner of De Anza and 280.
The previous so-called Apple campus was no longer big enough for the growing company. The buildings, constructed in 1993, are arranged along a circular private road, Infinite Loop, named after a programming term for a code that will run endlessly by itself. In order to cope with the growing number of employees, the company started acquiring more and more buildings in the area. Eventually, Apple was operating out of a chaotic mix of buildings that were originally developed entirely separately from one another, and are by no means ideal for a coherent office headquarters.
So we're renting buildings, not very good buildings either, at an ever greater radius from our campus. And it's clear that we need to build a new campus.
The plan was not to abandon the existing campus at Infinite Loop, but to expand it with a larger, modern one. Apple was able to acquire a large piece of land that is not only located nearby, but also sits directly on Interstate 280, which runs through the entire Silicon Valley, offering good accessibility for employees. A large part of this area was for sale because the computer company Hewlett-Packard closed their offices here, and Steve Jobs personally came full circle by acquiring this site, as it was somewhat personal to him.
When I was 13, I think, I called up, Hewlett-Packard were my idols, and I called up Bill Hewlett because he lived in Palo Alto, and he picked up the phone, and I talked to him, and I asked him if he'd give me some spare parts for something I was building called a frequency counter. And he did, but in addition to that, he gave me something way more important. He gave me a job that summer, a summer job at Hewlett-Packard right here in Santa Clara off 280.